Democrats are wetting their pants over the midterms. Hot Mike just caught Chuck Schumer admitting that things are going downhill. They'll only have themselves to blame if they lose big, and Geraldo will have to fork over $1,000 after our big bet yesterday.
Tell me what your dad said, because that was really
My dad didn't think that was classy, but
what the winner should donate.
Donate.
To charity.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay.
My dad always said charity starts at home.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk
idea.
about that later. Now, Politico is highlighting the growing panic. Democrats debate themselves. Why do we suck? I ask myself that question sometimes. That's really a good question, though. Even former top spin artist Jen Psaki is worried about what could be coming.
People are fearful about where the momentum is going in some of these races. Yes, there are very encouraging signs like the record early vote numbers, but numbers in some of the House races are not where they should be. I think it's a reflection of the fact that Democrats are kind of worried about where this is going right now, and it's felt worse over the last week or so.
So it's no wonder the Democrats are banking on Barack Obama to bail him out in the end. He's in battleground Georgia, and Joe Biden is now just straight up lying about gas prices.
We're down $1.25 since the peak this summer, and they've been falling for the last 3 weeks as well, and adding up real savings for families. Today, the most common price of gas in America is $3.39, down from over $5 when I took office.
So, Geraldo, are you having any regrets about our big bet yesterday?
You know what I was thinking, actually, Jesse? What if Georgia does the same thing it did last time and you don't know who won because nobody gets 50%? Then it's another month. Imagine this agony being prolonged as a Georgia special election
The Republicans
into
might
early
not even
December.
Need Georgia at this point, Geraldo.
I still believe, obviously, that the Republicans will prevail in the House. We'll have divided government, and I believe that that's why the Dow is marching on, because what investors like divided government, because divided government can't spend money the way the Biden administration did, 51 to 50 on 26 votes.
I was going to say it was the earnings reports that came out today, but you might know better than I, Kennedy. What do you think about the midterms?
No, I think Geraldo is absolutely right about that. It's very interesting watching this momentum shift so quickly, so close to the midterms, because even a week or 2 weeks ago, Democrats were incredibly confident about the momentum that they had developed from August onward. And, you know, the president can lie about gas prices. He can say, well, inflation isn't the worst it's ever been, therefore it's not bad. People know that's not true. People know they're paying too much for gas. They're paying too much for eggs and milk and bread and ground beef and everything else. And they don't like being lied to. So their thinking is, okay, this is your system. You are causing me pain. I want to be out of pain. I might give someone else a chance. Biden is saying Republicans will ruin the economy, but he's not saying how. He's not saying, you know, what implicitly is it about Republicanism that will destroy the economy? So I really think people are going to gamble and do whatever they can to get out of pain.
Martha, when he says that he came in and gas was $5 a gallon, do you think he's straight up lying, or do you think he just doesn't even remember?
I don't know. I mean, but it's not true. It is not simply not true. I mean, this is not opinion. This is fact. You can easily look up where gas prices were, 3-something. Then they went up to, 5 or 6 in some places. In California, close to 7. The other thing is that inflation, which he talked about inheriting, was at 1.4%. 1.4%. Now it's at 8.2%. It's very easy to pull up this chart and look at it. We're in far worse shape in the economy than we were when the president took office. And that's not my opinion. That's simply looking at the numbers. A recession is 2 negative periods of growth. We had that. Then we had this redefinition of what a recession is. And then I think it kind of worked, because people are still saying, well, let's see if we're going to be in a recession. Like, it is all, and we've heard from every leader on Wall Street pretty much that 2023 looks very rough. The GDP number was okay yesterday. It wasn't great when you peel away that top line number. So, I mean, I think one of the problems with the president is that he hasn't met people where they are and where they're living, like Kennedy's saying. And you can't just keep telling people things are rosy and fine and, gee, the economy is strong, like you said the other day, when people go, wait, hold on. Actually, it's not. Just speak to me like I'm an adult and like I know what's going on. And I might want to side with you. I might want to give you another chance. But you can't tell people that they're not experiencing what they're experiencing.
I'm almost curious what Barack Obama is going to say when he goes to these swing states, because he's got to say something different than what Joe Biden's saying.
I think he's going to say, hey, we got to stop acting a fool like he's been saying, and we got to stop listening and stuff. But Obama couldn't save him. Even if he was running himself, he can't save him. Here's the problem. Number one, let's just break it down. You don't go on a car show racing a car 110 miles an hour, bragging about how you love gasoline cars and you don't like cars, and then go on TV and tell us all we need. Our president is so out of touch. And if you can't remember the price of gas when you're doing a speech about the price of gas, you are unfit for office, period. Yeah. Point blank. If I came on here and my subject was crime and I started talking about my score on Xbox last night, there'd be some stuff going on during the commercial, and I would have to leave. And finally, wasn't no hot mic moment. Schumer positioned it just right to where you got his good side, and you couldn't see Biden's facial expression of huh, as he just leaned in and said, and even what he said was, "Oh, it didn't hurt that bad. We're still going to be good if everyone sticks together. If everybody votes the party line, we're going to be fine." It's basically, oh, hot mic. Did I say that? Oh no, hot mic moment. I'm wrestled. I'm the NWA World Television Champion. I know a little something about simulated combat and messing with a good interview to try to look serious or whatever. But this isn't wrestling. This is our lives, and it's just a sham. And hopefully the voters are seeing that it's a sham.
Well, I just found out that Schumer has a good side. That was important information.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.